Sunday morning, September 1st, you may be able to see the thin, waning crescent moon with Mercury 4.5 degrees to the lower right. Mercury will rise last, at 5:14 a.m., and the moon will be 6 degrees above the east-northeastern horizon as morning twilight begins 24 minutes later, at 5:38 a.m. Monday evening, September 2nd, at 9:55 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, will be the new moon when the moon passes between the Earth and the Sun. The day of or the day after the new moon marks the start of the new month for most lunisolar calendars. The 8th month of the Chinese Year of the Dragon starts on Tuesday, September 3rd. Sundown on Tuesday marks the start of Elul in the Hebrew calendar. Elul is a time of preparation for the high holy days of Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. Customs include granting and asking others for forgiveness as well as beginning or ending all letters with the wish that the recipient will have a good year. In the Islamic calendar, the months traditionally start with the first sighting of the waxing crescent moon. Many Muslim communities now follow the Al-Qura calendar of Saudi Arabia, which uses astronomical calculations to start months in a more predictable way. Using this calendar, sundown on Tuesday evening will probably be the beginning of Rabi al-Awwal, the month in which many Muslims celebrate Mawlid, the birth of the Prophet Muhammad. Wednesday evening, September 4th, will be when Mercury reaches its greatest angular separation from the Sun as seen from the Earth, called greatest elongation. This is not quite the same as when Mercury will appear at its highest as morning twilight begins. Friday morning, September 6th, will be when Mercury will appear at its highest, 2 degrees, above the east-northeastern horizon as morning twilight begins, at 5:43 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Wednesday evening, September 4th, you might be able to see the thin, waxing crescent moon near bright Venus, although you may need binoculars to find the moon in the glow of dusk. The moon will be 3 degrees above the western horizon 30 minutes after sunset, at 8:03 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, with Venus 5 degrees to the upper left. The moon will set 17 minutes later, at 8:20 p.m., 12 minutes before evening twilight ends, at 8:32 p.m. Thursday morning, September 5th, at 10:55 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, the moon will be at apogee, its farthest from the Earth for this orbit. Thursday evening, September 5th, the thin, waxing crescent moon will be 7 degrees to the left of bright Venus. The moon will be 1 degree above the western horizon as evening twilight ends, at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, with Venus setting first 4 minutes later, at 8:34 p.m. Friday evening, September 6th, the star Spica will appear 3 degrees to the left of the waxing crescent moon. As evening twilight ends, at 8:29 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, the moon will be 5 degrees above the west-southwestern horizon. Spica will set first 25 minutes later, at 8:54 p.m. A small part of Africa will see the moon pass in front of Spica. See http://lunaroccultations.com/iota/0906zc1925.htm http://lunar-occultations.com/iota/b*/0906zc1925.htm for a map and information. Saturday night, September 7th, Saturn will reach its closest and brightest for the year, called opposition because it will be opposite the Earth from the Sun, effectively a full Saturn. Saturn will be 10 degrees above the east-southeastern horizon as evening twilight ends, at 8:27 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, will reach its highest in the sky Sunday morning at 1:09 a.m., and will be 11 degrees above the west-southwestern horizon as morning twilight begins, at 5:45 a.m. Monday morning, September 9th, will be when Mercury and the bright star Regulus will be at their closest, just 0.5 degrees apart. They will be 5 degrees above the east-northeastern horizon as morning twilight begins, at 5:46 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Monday evening, September 9th, the star Antares will be 7 degrees to the upper left of the waxing crescent moon. As evening twilight ends, at 8:24 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, the moon will be 16 degrees above the southwestern horizon, and it will set on the west-southwestern horizon 2 hours later, at 10:26 p.m. By Tuesday evening, September 10th, the moon will have shifted to 6 degrees to the left of Antares and the pair will separate as the evening progresses, with Antares setting first, at 10:45 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Wednesday morning, September 11th, the moon will appear half full as it reaches its first quarter at 2:06 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Our 24-hour clock is based on the average length of the solar day. Solar noon on Sunday, September 15th, to solar noon on Monday, September 16th, will be the shortest solar day of the year, 23 hours, 59 minutes, and 38.6 seconds long. Tuesday morning, September 17th, will be the last morning that Mercury will be above the horizon as morning twilight begins, at 5:54 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Monday night into Tuesday morning, September 16th to 17th, Saturn will appear near the full moon. As evening twilight ends, at 8:12 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, Saturn will be 6 degrees to the left of the moon. When the moon reaches its highest for the night, at 12:17 a.m., Saturn will be 4 degrees to the upper left. By the time morning twilight begins, at 5:54 a.m., the moon will be 1 degree above the west-southwestern horizon with Saturn 1 degree above the moon. For parts of western North America and across the Pacific Ocean towards Australia, the moon will pass in front of Saturn. See http://lunaroccultations.com/iota/planets/0917saturn.htm http://lunar-occultations.com/iota/planets/0917saturn.htm for a map and information on the areas that will see this occultation. The full moon after next will be Tuesday night, September 17th, at 10:35 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. This will be on Wednesday from Newfoundland and Greenland time eastward across Eurasia, Africa, and Australia to the international date line. Most commercial calendars are based on Greenwich or Universal Time and will show this full moon on Wednesday. This will be a partial lunar eclipse. The moon will start entering the partial shadow of the Earth at 8:41 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. The slight dimming of the moon will be difficult to notice until the top edge of the moon starts entering the full shadow at 10:13 p.m. The peak of the eclipse will be at 10:44 p.m. with just the top 8.4% of the moon in full shadow. The moon will finish exiting the full shadow at 11:16 p.m. and the partial shadow on Wednesday morning at 12:47 a.m. This will also be the second of 4 consecutive supermoons. The moon will appear full for about 3 days, from Monday evening through Thursday morning.